You can see right there on your screen, many portions of this heavily redacted, but we are getting some revealing information. So let's bring in our chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl, and our chief justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas. Both of them will help break this all down. Pierre, let's start with you because you are getting some important information as it relates to probable cause.
With the affidavit is heavily redacted, large portions are blacked out to protect witnesses and where the investigation is headed. But a newly released document with the affidavit makes clear that the investigation is ongoing and active, noting that there are, quote, multiple civilian witnesses that need to be protected from intimidation or retaliation. But the main thing that the affidavit does is walk us through how this investigation unfolded. First, the National Archives in 2021 learned that there were a significant number of missing presidential records from the Trump administration. As a result of negotiations with President Trump, 15 boxes were sent from Mar-a-Lago to the National Archives in January of this year. What they found was deeply disturbing: highly classified materials. National Archives officials were so concerned that they turned over the boxes to the FBI this past May. We have a breakdown of what was in those boxes. There were 184 documents marked classified, among them 92 secret and 25 top secret. And there were other documents apparently even more sensitive, including one that involved secrets designed to protect clandestine sources. Another highly classified document involved national defense. The affidavit makes clear that the FBI found probable cause to believe there were additional documents at Mar-a-Lago which potentially impacted national security. The affidavit also claims there was probable cause to believe there was evidence of obstruction of justice at Mar-a-Lago. Federal authorities believe they found the missing documents that they were looking for, and now they're urgently trying to protect these witnesses and the information.
Pierre, thank you. And stand by for us as we walk through this. Let's bring in John Karl, who obviously has been following this very closely. And John, we know the Trump team has suggested openly and publicly that they wanted this affidavit to be released, but they never actually made that case in court.
The former president said he wanted the material released. His spokesperson reiterated that demand, but they were absolutely silent in court on this. When you look at this information, even as heavily redacted as it is damaging, I would argue, to the former president. You see that there is the FBI saw that he had removed considerable amounts of documents marked classified, and this they knew this well before the search of Mar-a-Lago. This was in the 15 boxes that Pierre just mentioned had been turned over after a lengthy negotiation that ran most of last year to the National Archives, and that the Justice Department is outlining what they believe are evidence of crimes. And by the way, one thing that's addressed, although in a heavily redacted way, is the argument that has been made by those close to Donald Trump that he had somehow declassified all this material, and therefore there was nothing at issue here. That argument is mentioned, and then the response to that argument, much of it is blacked out. But what is pointed out here is the concern that the material was placed at Mar-a-Lago in a way that was not secure, and it goes through in some detail the strict laws. I know what you're familiar with the way classified material must be viewed. It has to be done in a secure location. In fact, while Donald Trump was president, there was a setup at Mar-a-Lago called a SCIF, which would ensure that material could be viewed and discussed in a way that couldn't be penetrated by people trying to eavesdrop. Well, none of that exists anymore at Mar-a-Lago, and the concern is that this material, highly sensitive material, was stored in an improper way at Mar-a-Lago, where not only Donald Trump would have access to it, but potentially many other people.